What's going on, friends? Welcome to another episode of the Main Gains podcast. Oh my gosh. I am your host, Jenny LaFerrier, and today our guest is none other than another Beantown Beanie, Lexi Nelson. Lexi, say hi to the people.
Hi, everyone who's listening. Really honored to make it onto the Main Gains podcast as an avid listener. So thank you, Jenny, for having me.
I think you're episode 14, I want to say. So, which is kind of crazy that I've already been doing this for 14 weeks.
Yeah, that's awesome. What a cool side project.
I know. So Lexi, why don't you give a little bit of background, like who is Lexi Nelson to all of those who don't know you?
Yeah, sure. So I guess I'll start with what got me into rugby. I went to school at Brown University, and the summer before college, I had always played sports all growing up. Tennis was my most serious sport in high school. And I thought about playing in college, but I got accepted to Brown and I wanted to go, and the team there was too good. I wasn't gonna make it on the team, maybe as a bench player, but that's not really what I wanted. And I also wanted to focus on academics. So I got a recruitment email from the rugby team because they were looking at people who posted on their resume that they had won sports awards. So I got the email, and so it was kind of on my radar, but that they were having a tryout in the first week of freshman year, but I wasn't considering it super seriously because I was looking into doing other student groups. And I also didn't really know anything about it. I didn't know what I was getting into, which is probably a good thing, but I definitely missed sports and I wanted to find community. So I showed up at the tryout and I loved the intensity right off the bat that the team had, and I loved the people on the team. So I stuck around and never really looked back. I started out the team was a recruited team and I was a walk-on. So I started as a water girl. I remember my first game, I didn't touch a player or the ball the whole game. I was on the wing. Second game, my parents came, it was a home game, so my parents came to watch. And I remember they were like, great job running the water. And I also didn't touch a player or the ball. So I never had super high expectations for myself in the sport. I just wanted to play, but I had really great coaching. Kathy Flores coached Brown at the time. She's a super renowned coach. And she really encouraged me, and I worked my way up to playing outside center, and then I found my home at fullback in 2019, which is what I still play on Beantown. So yeah, other than rugby, I guess I have a cat who's currently climbing on me as I speak. Too bad it's a podcast and you can't see her because she's really cute. But I got my degree in environmental engineering. So up until recently, I was working as a wind and solar data analyst, but I recently got a new job doing consulting that I'm going to start pretty soon. Consulting within the energy space, which will just be a little bit of a broader thing to be doing in an early career. But it's also really important to me to have a career that's fighting climate change and spend most of my other time on rugby, but I also really like any sort of sports or outdoor activities besides rugby.
That's a lot to unpack. But I love it. I love it.
Sorry, I monologued for a second.
No, it's your podcast, man. I'm just the moderator. Um, when was your first year at Brown?
It was fall of 2017.
Okay, so you graduated in 21?
I did. I actually graduated in 2021 fall. So I played 15s for Brown in 2017, 18, 19, and 21 because fall 2020, I took off of school entirely during COVID because I was working an internship and I thought it was at the time would be a more fulfilling experience than remote school and Zoom school. So I graduated. I did 8 semesters over a little bit more than 4 years.
All right. Hey, I'm with you. I was a super senior.
Love it.
When you first kind of went to Brown and then rugby was kind of on your radar, what was the deciding factor for you to say you know what, I'm going to this first practice or tryout?
I think just I kind of told myself going into college that I wanted to push my comfort zone and try new things. I also tried doing crew, but that was just like a lot less of a fun social environment. And it was like kind of boring, a lot more boring than rugby. And I tried to get into some other various student groups, but nothing else like really stuck as much. And all the girls that did rugby were like really cool. And I made some friends right off the bat. So that was another thing that like I was like, maybe I should stick with this because I really like the team. They invited me to like a party like right off the bat when they heard I was gonna try out. Like even everybody who was trying out was like still invited, even though we didn't know if we'd even make the team. So I think that just is said a lot about rugby culture from the beginning, that everybody was so welcoming and friendly. Even though none of us like knew anything about rugby and they were recruited. So it was like kind of a big gap we had to like get up to.
Yeah. You mentioned that you wanted to broaden, like, try new things and broaden your horizons in college. Were you more reserved in high school?
Yeah, I was like definitely more quiet and shy. So I think that rugby has definitely helped me be like more confident as a person. Like something about like hitting people on a field gives you some confidence that carries over into other aspects of life. So I'm definitely like really grateful for that also.
Was gonna say, I've only known you since I guess a few years now, but like shy is not a word that I would use to describe you.
Yeah, I was like pretty shy. Sometimes I'm still like a little shy around new people, but less so like people I meet through rugby because it's just kind of like a comfort zone already. And
Mhm.
I'm just used to rugby people being like very friendly and open and accepting because it's part of this culture of the sport. So I think that helps me a lot, like being less shy and opening up to people.
Was it intimidating walking on to the for Brown? Because they were varsity, correct?
Yeah, it was definitely very intimidating. I remember being intimidated. But Kathy really encouraged me, so I'm really grateful for that. I think also, I mean, I'm pretty short and I also like didn't really touch any weightlifting before college at all. So I remember going into the weight room and all these older girls were like doing like Olympic lifts with heavy weights, and I was just pretty intimidated. But it was also like I really admired that, and I was like wanted to try to like work up to that slowly.
I like hearing that because there's two ways people normally go when they're intimidated. It's like they either step up to the challenge and they're like, that's where I aspire to be, so I have to like stick with it. Or the other side is like, this is intimidating, I'm just not gonna do it at all.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I guess I just really had nothing to lose at that point. And it did look fun. Like I went to like a rugby preseason game because it was like they had it during the tryout window so people could like really see a full game, and it was just like everyone was like yelling and falling and I didn't get any of the rules and I was so confused, but like everybody just looked like they're having so much fun. They were all muddy. So I don't know. It was just like a really cool atmosphere to be in, and it motivated me. I've always been like kind of intense, and I like intensity. So even though I was like intimidated, I really appreciated the intensity that everyone was bringing at practice, at games, and it's just like a really fun way to de-stress too between school. Like hitting pads is like a great de-stressor. And I had always kind of relied on sports as like sports and exercise for like mental health and for just like having a balanced life, getting my energy out. Even now, like as a working professional, I really like relish the opportunity to go out after work or before work and hit the gym or go to practice. I think it makes me like I'm so much more able to sit still during like work practice and focus. So I just think that like having that balanced life is like really important to me also. And so when you can do the fitness with all your friends in a fun game type of form, it was just like really appealing to me also.
As a D, I don't. Okay, Brown is Ivy League, so is that D1? Is that different?
Yes, it's NCAA Division One.
Okay, so
In the NIRA conference. It's the um I don't even know what it stands for. Let me look it up.
it's National Intercollegiate Rugby Association,
Yeah, exactly.
because we were also in NIRA. Um,
Nice.
but where I wanted to go with that was like, how did you balance? Because I have some high school athletes right now going to play at like even just whatever level it is, they're going to play in college. How did you balance the athlete part and the student part, especially being at such a high level for both of those things?
Yeah, it was definitely a lot of work at times. I remember like late nights studying and then 6 a.m. practices. But I think what really helped me was like just trying to not waste time, being really having great time management. Like in between classes, I was always like trying to get work done and trying to just like not waste that time. And it was great being part of a team, like you're kind of in it together. So we would go study together after practice. We would, like walking into the dining hall, you would always find like rugby people. We would all bring our backpacks there and like we would sit after we ate and do homework. And also just like leaning into the resources that are offered at Brown. Like we had special like tutoring that athletes could sign up for. And we had just like a lot of resources at the school for any student. Professor office hours. I really wasn't afraid to ask for help in academics and like reach out for more support. So I think that's what helped me. And also, since I had kind of grown up playing sports, I was used to having that in my routine, and I was used to like being pretty diligent because I knew like after practice I had to sit down and get the homework done and get the sleep, because sleep is even more important if you're an athlete.
Um, as someone who uses exercise and rugby as kind of like an outlet to get your energy out and like focus, were there ever points where it was almost detrimental, where you were playing so much rugby or you were doing so much activity on top of school that you were like, I'm feeling overwhelmed and you needed to find another outlet, or was that never a problem?
Um, I mean, there were definitely times where I guess I think like sophomore year, there one of the semesters, like my fall, I was took some really hard classes. I didn't really balance my classes well, and I was like finally like becoming a team contributor. So I was like kind of had higher expectations, and I also like had settled in a bit with like my friends at Brown. So I had a social life and like trying to balance all those things. It didn't end up being my most successful academic semester. And um even like rugby suffered at some points. So that was like a little bit of a wake up call. But I think I kind of like learned from that how I needed to like balance myself out, balance like my schedule and things out in future semesters. And I learned a bit more effective like study habits, because the class, it wasn't easy to even transition from like high school to college academics. So that was definitely a little bit of a bump in the road. I also got concussed during that fall, so which set me back a little bit in my academics and increased the stress levels. But at the end of the day, like I ended up doing a lot better in my semesters to follow. Just tried to learn from that. And it was hard because I didn't want anything to like I valued my social life and rugby and my academics. So didn't really want to drop anything. So it was mostly about like how can I really be diligent about balancing all these and learn from that failure.
I like that look on it where it's not like one has to detract from the others, and that you're just more, I guess, intentional about all three, being like, how can I get the most out of all of them so I don't have to lose one or the other?
Yeah, exactly.
So let's talk about like kind of the post grad life, because you graduated in 2021, right? I saying that right? The fall.
Yep. Winter 2021.
Yeah. So, did you have plans to stay in Boston, or how did you stay there? How'd you get up there? How'd you get there?
Yeah, so I got involved with Beantown originally because in the summer of 2019 I came back to my hometown. I live like in between Providence and Boston. That's where I grew up in Foxborough, where Gillette Stadium is. So I was back there in 2019 summer to do an internship. And I wanted to play with Beantown for something to do, and because I was just like loving the rugby at that point. So I wanted to elevate my game for when I came back to the season with Brown. And immediately, like, I really admired everybody and I looked up to all the women so much, and I was like, this will be so much fun if I could join. Um, so when I was applying for jobs, I definitely wanted to stay, or I was hoping to stay in New England. I really liked New England and I wanted to move to Boston and play for Beantown. I was kind of like nervous to relocate for like a first job and like leave my community and family because I didn't really know what I wanted to do, still don't. And I eventually only lasted a year at my first job. So I'm glad I didn't like uproot my life for it. But um, so I graduated 2021 fall, and then I went on to start practicing with Beantown for this 2022 WPL season, which was definitely like a big step up from the college game in terms of like physicality and talent. But so it was like really definitely like pushing me, and I was trying to make the transition from like student to working professional, which is not necessarily easy. It's just a very different sort of lifestyle. And so it was definitely like a tough spring, but it was really rewarding to get to contribute to the WPL side. And winning second in nationals was like a super cool experience. And I think we're only going to be more successful this year. But regardless, that's like definitely something I'm really proud of, is getting to contribute to that second place finish.
Did you instantly start in your WPL season, or was it kind of like Brown where you started on the sideline and then busted your way onto the starting 15?
Yeah, I did start my first WPL game, which was I think more of a luck situation because or not luck, but um like we just didn't have a ton of depth at 15. Mia Beiser played a few games, but she coaches for Dartmouth, so she had a lot of other commitments, and I think she was also injured. So I ended up starting and playing a lot of WPL minutes, which was definitely like a big honor, but it was really nerve-wracking to like play that first game against Life West, like one of the best teams in the country, and start. But we yeah, it ended up being like, I don't even remember who won or lost that game. I was just so like nervous the whole time. But
I was
yeah,
gonna ask if you remembered who the first game was against.
I think we lost. I think it was Life West. It was Life West. It was like April of 2022. Vaguely remember like flying out there, not knowing what to expect. But yeah, it was overall, I think I grew a lot just from that one season. And it definitely like let me know what I needed to work on. And kind of ever since last WPL season, I've been really working hard in the gym, like watching rugby, taking any opportunity to do skills or touch, and preparing to hopefully contribute even more this coming season.
What are you looking forward to most this season?
I think like I think we're gonna be really successful. And I also think that I'm looking forward to like being a little bit more settled and just like enjoying it a little bit more and being less stressed. Um, and just like making so many memories with the team. Traveling is like it's really fun to like stay with your team and be in hotels and just like play these big games. It's nerve-wracking, but it's like a lot of fun. And um I think this season, just kind of like knowing what to expect, I'm gonna have like more fun and be less nervous about it. Um and yeah, I think the team is like it's just such a great community to be a part of. Like everybody is so friendly, and just like the vibes at the first outdoor practice on Thursday were like really great. Everyone was just so excited to be out there and enthusiastic to see like what we can accomplish this season. So I'm definitely looking forward to it.
Um, I'm very excited for the travel aspect of it and just playing teams that are like from across the country because all I've really been exposed to, I mean, we've played a few tournaments where teams have traveled, but none from across the country, so that's very nerve-wracking for me.
Yeah, it is. But I'm really excited for you in your first WPL season. I think you're gonna do great and like experience a lot of growth like I did. So a lot to look forward to.
I think that's the biggest thing that people, I don't know if miss out on is the word, or value is the amount of growth that you experience when you just put yourself into positions where people are better than you, or they're just used to playing at a higher level, and like the growth you experience is exponential.
Yeah, I totally agree. Um, Playing with Beantown and like playing WPL, I've always felt like really pushed, and I think it's made me like a so much better player than I ever thought I would be. Like I didn't know I would even be playing on Brown team, let alone in WPL. So it's just been like a really cool journey, and I credit a lot to like the team for being a great support system and being just like always bringing like a really high level of intensity.
Uh, I wanna ask, who do you think has been, like, the most influential in your athletic career? Not only just, like, your rugby career, but, like, was there a coach in high school, or was it Kathy at Brown who really just kinda, like, had the biggest impact on who you are as a person and a player?
I think definitely like growing up, my parents were always involved in like races and sports. My mom did like marathons and triathlons, and my parents put me in so many sports when I was a kid because I had a lot of energy and always supported my athletic pursuits, even when like they showed up to my first rugby games and I wasn't really doing much except carrying the water. And they just saw like people getting hurt. They were still super supportive. And like having been coached by Kathy at Brown, like she really like saw like a lot of potential in me, and like it's just that just like meant a lot and like really helped me like believe in myself to kind of take on the challenge of like playing rugby and not and having like no background playing with recruited players, and um yeah, just taking my career even farther. So I'm really grateful to her for that too.
Um, of all the rugby memories that you have, what do you think is one of the best ones? Or like, I guess best is a good word. Funniest, best, whatever you want.
Oh gosh, there's so many. Best rugby memory. Definitely like winning the semifinal, WPL semifinal against New York. I feel like a lot came together in that game, and we got definitely a glimpse of like the potential of Beantown, and we had come so far just to get there. So that was definitely a really rewarding experience. In terms of like college, oh, we had a really great game. My senior fall 2021, we came out and tied Army in like our first game of the season, which was huge for us because we had historically lost to them. And that was just like a really set a high standard for the season, and it was a really fun game to play, and like just we were the underdogs and we were able to tie them. So I think those are two games that definitely like stand out in my mind.
Nice. And which do you like better, 15s or sevens?
Oof, that's a really hard question, because I love them both. I think I would probably say sevens, if not for the kicking aspect of 15s. I really love the kicking game, which is why I like playing in the backfields. So they might be tied, but I think even though I've played more 15s just because of the pandemic and because there's more opportunities to play 15s in this region, I think sevens has like really helped with my skill development as well. And I strictly play fullback basically at in 15s, but in sevens I'm a utility player. So I've got in the past year I've gotten to play like basically every position in sevens except for prop. So that's like fun for me because it's different. I'm actually playing in the line for once. So I guess this is kind of a cop out answer, but both 15s and sevens.
No, I think that's a fair answer because they're such different games that it's hard to compare them. Like the rules are the same, yeah, but the pace, the like the strategy behind it, it's just so different.
Yeah, I agree. Very different. What about you? Do you have a favorite?
So I'm biased and I think I do like sevens a little bit more. And that could just be because I really like the pace of it. and you're involved a lot more versus in my experiences with 15s, depending on what team you're on and how you play, it could be like it's like forward ball and then back ball, or it's like you're trying to combine the two with a 1-3-3-1 and stuff like that. But in sevens, it's just like even your forwards are fast. And so you all just kind of play the same and just like it's just a go game.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's a lot more like instincts and involved in sevens. Like I like the strategic aspect of 15s, but sevens is really like so much adrenaline and you're kind of just like going off the seat of your pants sometimes. So it's really cool to have gotten to play both throughout my career, and I hope that that opportunity is still like available in the future.
Yeah. What would you, we're kind of wrapping up here, what would you tell younger Lexi, let's say freshman in college? What words of wisdom would you give her?
I guess I would say like just stick with it and like enjoy the journey and be grateful for like all these opportunities to play rugby that like I mean women definitely didn't have as many opportunities like a generation or two ago in rugby, and just like be grateful for all the women who kind of like paved the way for us. And yeah, I guess I would just tell myself to like um just keep working hard, and I don't know, I'm really glad that that younger me had like the foresight to stick with it, because it's definitely been like a life-changing experience.
That's incredible. Um, and I think it's important for everyone to hear that's just like there are so many people that came before us to allow us to do what we do. And sometimes I feel like this duty almost to continue doing what they did to help the kids coming up behind us to like be in an even better position.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Maybe someday I've thought about like coaching someday down the line, maybe. But definitely hoping to like pay it forward. I almost said play it forward, but both things actually. I
Both
do want
works.
yeah.
Last thing here, Lexi, where do you see kind of not like way down the line future, but let's say like the next year or so, 2, 3 years, where do you see your rugby going and where do you see your professional life going? Because you're starting this new job. Is it in Boston still?
Yeah, it's in Waltham, which is Greater Boston. So I'll still be in the area. I think what I'm hoping, at least professionally in the next few years, is to like really like find my niche in climate change, because I'm still kind of figuring out what exactly I want to do, and how how exactly I want to contribute to like the fight against climate change. So I'm hoping that like being a consultant will help me narrow that down. But I guess in rugby, hopefully, I really want to have like a long career. So hopefully, I'll be able to be still playing. And I'm hoping that I'll be able to be a really strong competitor for Beantown on the WPL side, and maybe even get into like coaching, and honestly just like having a lot of fun with it as well. And just like strengthening all the great friendships that I've already made with the team, and trying to help the team like, you know, move forward where however I can.
I love it. Absolutely love it. Well, Lexi, thank you for coming on the Main Gains podcast. It was fun getting to hear a little bit more about your rugby background and experiences. So, everyone who's listening, make sure to like, no, yeah, make sure to subscribe and leave a 5-star rating or review. And I do post this on YouTube. So, if you want to see the cat fig, you can. So, you just got to make sure you watch and you can subscribe on YouTube.
Wait, that's so funny. I didn't know you were gonna post on YouTube. So hopefully I didn't do anything embarrassing. I think I was just drinking my coffee and and petting my cat, but
I don't think anything embarrassing. I like no one really watches them anyways. They usually listen to Spotify.
that's so funny. Well, thank you so much. This has been so much fun. And really appreciate you taking the time and like sharing more about everybody's stories on Beantown. It's been like really fun to listen and get to know people.
Well, thank you very much, Lexi. And everyone else, I'll talk to you guys in the next one.